Today on Munson Made This, it's all about the sides. Hello, welcome to Munson Made This. I am Michael, and if you are new here, I make vegan food, and today is no different. I'm going to be making a delicious vegan recipe. Today is actually the start of a series that I'm going to be doing now through Thanksgiving, where I'm going to be making veganized versions of your favorite holiday side dishes. And today is probably like my favorite side dish of all time. I remember having it as a kid at parties and wondering, what is that thing? And learning later in life what it was actually called. Well, it's called funeral potatoes or cheesy potato bake or even Mormon potatoes. But once I figured out what it was called, then I was able to, in my early 20s, make it myself. And I've been obsessed with this dish, but I hadn't had it in a few years because, well, I'm vegan now, and it's definitely not a vegan dish. So I have tested a few things, and I have made this incredibly delicious vegan version of this cheesy potato, funeral potato, Mormon potato bake. And I'm going to show you exactly how I do it today. First thing I'm going to show you how to do, though, is to make a vegan version of cream of chicken soup, which is going to be the base for this. And it can also be the base of many other popular holiday or party side dishes. So let's get started making this vegan cream of chicken soup, and then we'll turn it into a potato dish. There are two parts to this, the blender portion, and then we'll be taking it over the stove in just a moment. We have here some cashews that have been soaked, as well as some water. To that, we're going to be adding some tapioca starch. There's going to be some flour over on the stove also. If you don't want to do tapioca starch and flour, you could just do one or the other. I'm adding to this some nutritional yeast. And then the thing that's going to give it the flavor of the cream of chicken soup, we have some Better Than Bouillon No Chicken Vegan Bouillon Paste. You could use another type of vegan chicken bouillon, or if you wanted to just use some vegetable broth, you could. But the flavor that I really enjoy definitely is unique to this Better Than Bouillon No Chicken. So I'm going to pop the lid on and blend this until it is very creamy. This is all blended. Next step is to go over to the stove and thicken it up. If you wanted to shortcut this and maybe didn't want to use the cashews, you could probably use like soy milk or almond milk. Probably do the same thing. I like the thickness that the cashews gives it, just a little bit more richness in the dish, but I'm sure another type of plant milk would work as well. So yeah, let's go over to the stove and thicken this up. Now, because this dish has onions and I want to saute some onions with this, I'm going to be doing that first of all. So I've got whole onion cut up here, and I have just a couple of tablespoons of vegan butter in this pan. If you weren't making this particular dish and you just wanted that cream of chicken, obviously you would just bypass the onion portion of this here. So I'm going to put it on medium heat, and I'm just going to cook these in the vegan butter for, I don't know, a couple of minutes, just until they're softened, start to become translucent. And then I will add the flour, our cashew cream of chicken mixture, and then thicken that all up, and then we'll be ready to pretty much assemble the rest of the dish. All right, this has been going for a few minutes, just lightly softened. Now I'm going to be adding all-purpose flour. If you, again, were going to bypass the tapioca starch step, then you would want to double this up and use maybe 4 tablespoons of the flour here instead of just the 2. So I'm going to cook this for just a minute or two until the flour loses that raw flavor, and then we will add the cashew mixture. All right, just to get things kind of moving here, I'm going to start with just a teeny bit of water, just maybe a tablespoon or so, just to get that flour starting to be hydrated. And then now I'm going to add the cashew cream of chicken. All right, and I've got this on medium heat, and I'm just going to keep stirring pretty continually, scraping the bottom to get any bits of flour off there. And I'm just gonna go for a couple of minutes until this is nice and thick. This is the equivalent of 2 cans of cream of chicken soup, which is concentrated, so you know that's pretty thick, and that's kind of the texture that we're gonna want here when we're done. This is thickened up pretty quickly. As you can see, it's really thick, the consistency of condensed cream of chicken soup. Now, a lot of the fatty flavor of this dish comes from the addition of vegan butter. So we're gonna add this in right now. That's just about this is about a quarter cup of vegan butter. And I'm just stirring it in at this point just to melt it in. And then this is gonna be stirred in together with the potatoes, some vegan yogurt, some vegan cheese. So this can just hang out on the stove here for a moment while I get those things set up and ready. My cream of chicken mixture is back there on the stove hanging out, and I have a giant bowl ready for me to be able to assemble and mix everything together. Now, this recipe calls for 2 pounds of frozen hash brown potatoes. Now, there's kind of a debate over whether you want the shredded kind, like a traditional hash brown, or whether you want the cube kind, like I have here. I prefer the little cubes, which is what I have here. But as long as you have 2 pounds, you're good. Which oddly, the bag size is like there's 2 pounds, there's like, so this is 32 ounces, there's some that are 30 ounces. Get whatever's closest to 2 pounds or 2 1-pound bags. It'll all be the same. Vegan cheese, I have some Follow Your Heart vegan cheese here, and I'm one of the kind of people that cheese is great. Well, in my pre-vegan days, I really love cheese. Vegan cheese is great in moderation. If you add too much, it can kind of get a little bit gummy and weird. So I'm gonna go a little bit light on this, maybe about like a half cup. I wanted to make a bunch of side dishes, that's what this series is for, that are good for vegans, but are also very omnivore friendly, that aren't gonna put off any people that aren't vegan. So I think one of the tricks here with adding vegan cheese is just to not add too much, because it can really throw off the dish if there's way too much in there. So I think that's pretty good. Going to add next our thickened cream of chicken soup. All of the original recipes that I found for this potato dish calls for sour cream. Now, Tofutti sour cream is what I originally tested this recipe with, and it works pretty well, but I have some homemade soy yogurt here, which if you would like me to do a video on how I make my homemade soy yogurt, let me know and I'll show you. Basically, you just add probiotics to soy milk, put it in the Instant Pot, and you've got it. And I'm using this as the sour cream today. I feel like it's just maybe slightly tangier than vegan sour cream. So if you have plain vegan yogurt, use that. Or like I said, make your own. And if you want to see that video, let me know. I'm gonna mix this together, but before I do that, I want to add quite a bit of black pepper. And we do have a lot of potatoes here, even though there's a lot of salt and sodium in the cream of chicken base. I do want to add just a little bit of salt here because, again, that's a lot of potatoes. Potatoes aren't seasoned, so I want to make sure that everything tastes great. Let's mix it up. You can see here why I have such a big bowl. I know that the potatoes are frozen, but I do want to give this just a bit of a taste to make sure that my seasoning is good. I don't want to bake this whole thing off and then have it under-seasoned. It's really good. I'm going to add a bit more salt. It does need a bit more of a pick-me-up. And I'm going to add some more black pepper as well. That should do it. I'm going to mix this through, and then we will put it into a pan. This recipe makes enough for a 9x13 pan, but because I want to take pretty pictures of these, I'm dividing it into 2 smaller pans, which you can do also, but this is just for pure aesthetics. And I have a baking sheet under it just in case there is any overflow. So I'm just smoothing this down, and then we are going to make the topping in just a bit. I've seen this being made with potato chips before, but the topping that I'm most fond of is the cornflake topping. So once I get this all smoothed out, I'll show you how I make that. For the cornflake topping, I'm just gonna add a little bit of vegan cheese, a little pinch of salt, and then just a couple tablespoons of our vegan butter, and toss. I'm using clean hands to distribute the cornflake, cheese, vegan butter mixture over the top of both of these. And you want it to pretty much just cover the entire casserole. You don't want to see any of the white through it. The last thing to do before they go into the oven is to cover them with foil. Now my oven is already preheated to 350 degrees, and they're gonna go in there for about 45 minutes covered, and then we will take the foil off and bake it for another 15 minutes until the cornflakes get crispy. Now if you have a lid for your pan, use that. I'm just using foil. If you're afraid of foil touching your food, then come up with another alternative, but this is gonna work for me today. All right, that's it. This is going into the oven, and I'll see you on the other side. The casseroles have been in the oven for a total of 1 hour. They were in there for 45 minutes with foil on them, and I took the foil off, and they've been in there. And I actually cranked up the temperature to about 375 once I took the foil off to help them brown and crisp up a bit. So here they are. Look pretty good. The cheese didn't melt a ton, but I don't know, I think it's got a nice appearance. And then I'm gonna take one of these over to my island and give this a taste test. It is my favorite time of every episode when I get to give this a taste. Now, we were taking some pictures, so it's cooled off a little bit, but this is the kind of dish that's actually best at room temperature. It's great warm. I've even eaten it cold, but it's definitely best sort of hanging out room temperature, and that's exactly what it is right now. So, cheers. Mm-hmm. It tastes exactly like I remember it, with the Campbell's soup, with regular sour cream, but the entire thing is vegan, no dairy, no real cheese, no sour cream. It is so good. Now, you definitely need to give this a try. This would be a perfect dish to bring to a Thanksgiving party, even a Halloween party, Christmas party, and have it out for everyone to enjoy. Truly, no one is going to know that this is vegan unless you tell them. Also, if you wanted to make this a little bit healthier, you could pretty much eliminate all of the vegan butter, and you would have a pretty much oil-free dish. You could also, if you wanted to make this gluten-free, you could just use all tapioca starch or use a gluten-free flour, because the AP flour that we put in to thicken up the soup is the only thing in here that isn't gluten-free. So that's definitely an option for you as well. If you like this recipe, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please do so, because I have a ton, well, 3 or 4 more Thanksgiving or party side dishes to come. Definitely gonna be doing a stuffing probably next week. And if you have any ideas or dishes that you're used to having at holiday parties that you'd like to see a vegan version of, please comment down below and let me know what you would like me to make. And yeah, so thank you all for watching. I'm gonna finish eating this on my Patreon channel, Munson Ate This. So follow that link below if you wanna watch that. Subscribe there, help support this channel, and keep this going, because I'm having a great time, and I have no what am I trying to say here? No sign of stopping anytime soon. So thanks to all those that have already supported, and yeah, if you wanna see me eat more of this, definitely check out that channel. So thanks again, I'll see you next time with another Thanksgiving or party side dish, and yeah, cheers. I said cheers twice.